On January 28th of 1963, Marcia Hathaway, actress from Australia of TV and radio, was with some friends on a boat, and they decided to go out, and they went into Sugarloaf Bay in Middle Harbour, which is in Australia, and they went there to enjoy the water, do some swimming. They arrived there in the morning, and Frederick, who was 38 years old, Marcia is 33 years old, so her fiance Frederick and Marcia go into the water, and they make their way into shallow water. There was shark warnings for people not to swim, but those are always on the beach. They came from a boat, so they wouldn't have known or seen any postings. And a lot of the people that were residents there said they would never go swimming there anyway because of how many sharks are in the water. So the two of them make their way all the way almost up to the beach. They're about 20 yards from shore, and they're in about knee-deep water. Now Marcia is standing in the knee-deep water, and she's about 20 yards from shore. But at the time, Frederick is standing 12 to 15 feet from her, and he's a little bit further out. So he's looking out to see, she's behind him, and he hears her scream. He turns and looks, and he sees that she's being dragged out to the deeper water. So she was in knee-deep water, and now something's got her, and he thought dragging, but then he saw a tail flick, so it sounds like she was being pushed out into the deeper water, and he started swimming for her. There are some reports in the papers that when she and Frederick had seen it, they thought it was an octopus, and it was just huge. Octopus does come in on some reports. Some reports are that she screamed that she was bitten by an octopus. But the octopus does show up in some of the news stories. Some of them don't talk about it at all, and they just talk about the attack. So we're going to go with the ones that talk about the attack. And he swims out to her now. He reaches her, and now he's in water. Like I said, she was taken from knee-deep water, 2 feet of water. She's out above his head now. He's treading water, fighting the shark. First he gets to her, and he grabs Marcia by the hand. And it sounds like the shark had her by the calf at the time. And they started doing a tug-of-war with Marcia. And then the shark released her and obviously grabbed her up on her thigh. And he starts beating on the shark now, and he could feel the shark between his legs at one point as he's kicking and punching on the shark. It finally lets go, releases, and moves off. Another swimmer comes out and helps Frederick get Marcia in. She gets in. She's still alive when she reaches the beach. She tells Frederick, "Don't worry, God will take care of me," and she passes away shortly after that. There was many witnesses to the event. People were on the beach. People just weren't in the water. It sounds like Marcia and Frederick were about the only two people in the water at the time of this attack. Like I said, people did not want to go into the water, and they never did really give the actual shark that got a hold of her. A 10-foot bronze whaler was actually caught the next day after the attack, only 100 yards from the attack site. But when opened up, they didn't find anything. The first report was that the teeth matched up, the teeth radius matched up with the bite marks on her. But then when the experts took the actual teeth and matched it up to the bite, it didn't match. So it's not a bronze whaler. Sounds like a bull shark, but a bull and a tiger and a great white will all grab you and try to take you out to water, at least where they can maneuver good in. Not all the time though. Some will just eat where they're at. Great whites will eat in shallow water. That happened to Javon Wright. But a lot of times they will take you out to where they can swim without having to worry about hitting the bottom when they're moving around, doing the biting actually, and the feeding. So that's the attack on Marcia Hathaway. This was the attack, I believe it was, where they started putting up nets in all the beaches in that area and around Australia where they were having attacks, and that greatly reduced the number of fatalities. Especially, it takes a lot of lives from the sharks that are in the area and other marine life, but it keeps the people safe. And that seems to be one of the attacks, the attack to where they finally took action. It was either that one or Margaret Hobbs. I'm not sure which one it was. It might be Margaret Hobbs who entered the water. I don't think we covered her yet, but she went to go watch the net be repaired, and a shark came through and went ahead and killed her. So we'll get into that one eventually. But this one of Marcia Hathaway, a very sad one. She was missing a ton of muscle. It took the meat from her thigh almost ripped off her leg. Some say it did rip off her leg, but others say that it almost ripped her leg off at the hip. So that bite to the thigh was just a vicious one. And removal of meat, they said that her lower legs were just mangled, which is understandable. It sounds like it was a pretty lengthy attack before he was able to get to her. I mean, you're 10, 15 feet away and all of a sudden a shark is taking you out. You're going to have to catch up with that shark and you know, your fiance, and he has to sit there and watch his fiance pass away after being attacked by a shark. So Marcia Hathaway, an attack, an attempt to predate. We just are not sure what type of shark, but all likelihood is a bull shark unless they're not in that area, which I'll have to look into that. So that's the story of Marcia Hathaway. And remember, if you go into that water, you are much more afraid of those sharks than they are of you.